The light rain scratched the windows of the car parked on the side of the road, like insistent fingers trying to call someone back to reality. It was late afternoon in Milwaukee, but the heavy sky pushed the city into early gloom, as if the day refused to go on. Inside, the man hadn't moved for hours. The hands clenched on the steering wheel revealed a restrained impulse, a decision postponed for too long. Outside, the world continued its course. Cars rushed by, headlights dyeing the wet asphalt yellow and red, but inside that vehicle, time seemed suspended, suffocated by an absence that it had chosen. Years ago, in a log house in northern Wisconsin, he was still the kind of person who laughed easily. The smiles were genuine, but always slightly curved down at the corners, as if something in his soul was never fully satisfied. Childhood had left invisible cracks in his emotional fabric, and he had learned early that trust was the first step to losing. His mother had taught him this with silence. Your father, with pranks. People left. That's what he knew. She was different. He showed up on a Saturday in October, with a hot cup of coffee and eyes that stared as if they knew too much. She spoke little, but listened with an almost uncomfortable intensity, as if she wanted to live inside the words he said. At first he backed away, then he gave in, and then, over time, he built a place with it that he called home, although he never dared to use that word. But even in the most intimate moments, there was a subtle shadow about him, a step back, as if he expected all of this to fall apart at any moment. The house where they lived together still existed, although it was now empty, with the windows covered in dust and the garden overgrown with weeds. Passers-by might think that no one had lived there for decades, but he knew that was where he started to move away. Not out of lack of love, but out of fear of being left. A silent withdrawal, millimeters a day. He avoided her questions with short answers. He started working more. I forgot birthdays, not out of neglect, but as an unconscious sabotage mechanism. If she left, at least it would have been for something he deserved. On that winter night when she finally didn't come home, no fight had occurred. No bitter words were exchanged. Just emptiness. The lights in the house flickered when he walked through the hallway that early morning, as if the place reacted to her absence, as if it were breathing. The silence was so thick it seemed to push the furniture against the walls. He lay down on the bed, but didn't sleep. The space next to it seemed vaster than it had ever been. She called once. He didn't answer. Then never again. Maybe because she knew, or maybe because she understood that love for him was a minefield, and she was tired of treading carefully. Years passed like leaves blown by the wind in a forgotten city. He moved, sold the house. He tried other relationships, but they all foundered in the same pattern. They started out intense, then came the silences, the withdrawals, the excuses. He masterfully sabotaged himself, wearing the mask of someone busy, independent, emotionally shielded. He never let anyone see the true emptiness that lived behind his eyes. One morning, with the city sleeping under a sodden sky, he returned to his old address. The street seemed smaller, as if the years had shrunk everything. The old tree in the yard was now dead. And in that moment, standing in the rain, he understood. The tree had died in the same way as his relationships. Slowly, through lack of care, out of fear that growing up would mean being cut down later. Back in the car, his breath was starting to fog up the glass. From the radio, an old song played at a low volume. One that she used to sing out of tune, just to make him laugh. He squeezed his eyes shut, as if that could contain the memories that now bled inside. But they came, relentless. Memories of lazy afternoons, of hands clasped for no reason, of unspoken promises because they both thought time would be eternal. In a sudden flash, he saw himself younger, on a sidewalk somewhere, watching his mother walking away with a blue suitcase. The scene that had shaped all their futures. Abandonment first, the silence afterwards. It was there that he learned that whoever loves more loses first, and then, at some point, he decided, Before they leave, I disappear. The city outside was now dark. The streetlights seemed like flickers from a world that no longer recognized him. He unlocked his cell phone and looked at the last unsent message. I miss you. Just that. 3 words weighing more than any paragraph. He no longer had her number, but he kept the message saved, like a ritual. Every month he reread it, like someone caressing a ghost. In the distance, the sound of a train cut through the silence. There was no pain more acute than realizing that what was avoided out of fear happened precisely because it was not faced. He had moved away so as not to be abandoned first. But in the end, that's exactly what he achieved. Alone. Abandoned. By own choice. In advance. The rain thickened, creating small rivers on the front window. Each drop felt like a memory trickling down. He started the engine, but it didn't move. It just stood there while the city turned off its lights, like a play ending its last act. And in that final moment, one last image appeared. Her, standing in the doorway, looking back one last time. Waiting. Just for a second longer than he expected. Sometimes life doesn't abandon us. It just responds to our abandonment. Now tell me, who did you walk away from, afraid of being left and ended up losing anyway?